All right, so get this. A lake of fire.
Oh, yeah.
Not a metaphor, an actual lake of actual fire.
Wow.
Erta Ale, it's this active volcano in Ethiopia, and get this, it has a lava lake that's been bubbling away for decades.
No kidding.
Yeah, he sent us some articles and research on this, and, well, it's amazing.
It is.
So today, we are taking a deep dive into Erta Ale.
Okay.
It's like this window into these powerful forces shaping our planet, and the people who live around it, well, they have an incredible story.
It really is a remarkable place. Like you said, it's not just about the cool, visuals of a lava lake.
Right.
Erta Ale is right in the Afar region of Ethiopia.
Okay.
And that sits right on the East African Rift. So that's where the African tectonic plate is slowly, very slowly pulling apart.
Okay, so I've heard of tectonic plates, but a continent splitting. I mean, come on, give us the Earth science crash course.
Okay, so think of it this way. The Earth's crust, it's like a puzzle.
Okay.
But the pieces, they're always moving, just very, very slowly.
Right.
The East African Rift, it's a crack forming in one of those pieces, the African plate.
I see.
And as it spreads, magma from deep inside the Earth rises up.
Ah.
And so that's what makes this whole area a volcanic hotspot.
I see.
And Erta Ale, well, it's the most active one in Ethiopia.
So it's like this rift is kind of giving us this peek into the Earth's, like, molten heart. And Erta Ale is, like, the star of the show, right?
Exactly. And its claim to fame is that persistent lava lake. Not many volcanoes in the world can boast about that.
Not many at all. It's been erupting nonstop since at least 1967. It's longer than I've been alive.
Wow.
What keeps it going for so long?
Well, it's a delicate balance, really. A lava lake forms when magma from below fills up a crater or a depression.
Okay.
But for it to last this long, you need a constant supply of heat and magma. That's pretty rare.
Right.
Which makes Erta Ale a gold mine for scientists who study volcanic activity and the composition of magma.
So scientists can actually get samples from this lava lake. Talk about a hot job.
Right. It is a unique research opportunity. So by analyzing the lava's chemistry, they can actually learn about the conditions deep beneath the surface.
Oh, really?
The temperature, the pressure, what the magma is made of, And this helps us understand how volcanoes work.
Wow.
Not just Erta Ale, but just the basic processes driving them, everywhere.
So it's amazing that this one spot can tell us so much about what's happening inside the Earth.
It is, and the research methods are getting more advanced all the time.
Oh, yeah.
They're using thermal imaging to track temperature changes.
Wow.
And they're also using satellite data to monitor the volcano from space.
That's incredible. So they're keeping a close eye on this fiery giant. Why is that so important?
Well, the more data we have, the better we can understand Erta Ale's patterns and potentially predict future eruptions.
Right.
And that knowledge is critical for the people who live in the region,
right.
The Afar people.
Right. We can't just talk about the volcano without talking about them. This is their home, and it's right next door to this incredible, but also potentially dangerous force of nature.
Exactly, yeah. So living alongside an active volcano, well, it means facing risks, like lava flows, toxic gases, and, well, the ever-present possibility of a larger eruption.
Yeah, it must take some, incredible resilience to live in such a harsh environment.
Absolutely. The Afar people, they have a deep connection to this land, They've adapted to living with Erta Ale's presence for generations.
Yo.
In fact, they actually have unique agricultural techniques.
Really?
They actually utilize the volcanic soil and their traditional housing structures. Well, they're designed to withstand the heat and ash.
That's remarkable. It sounds like they've learned to not just survive, but thrive in a landscape that many would consider uninhabitable.
Exactly. Their knowledge of the volcano is invaluable. And that's why scientists are actually now working closely with the Afar community.
Oh, wow.
Combining scientific data with, generations of local observations.
Oh, I see.
And this leads to a much deeper understanding of Erta Ale and how to protect the people who live alongside it.
It makes you wonder what other, ingenious adaptations they've developed over time.
Well, one of the most fascinating things is they've actually incorporated Erta Ale into their cultural beliefs.
Yeah.
They've woven Erta Ale into their folklore and traditions.
Oh, wow.
They have stories and legends that depict the volcano as a powerful spirit or a deity.
That makes sense. When you live that close to something as awe-inspiring and as potentially destructive as an active volcano, well, it's got to become a central part of your cultural narrative.
Exactly. And it's not just stories. They actually have rituals and ceremonies that are associated with the volcano.
Oh, wow.
Some are about like seeking blessings for good harvests, and then others are focused on appeasing Erta Ale during like periods of increased activity.
So it's like a deeply spiritual connection, almost a reciprocal relationship, with the volcano. It's not just about, surviving its hazards, but actually recognizing its power as this force of nature.
Right. It challenges our typical, I guess, scientific perspective.
Yeah.
Where we tend to focus on data, measurements, trying to like predict and control.
Yeah.
But the Afar people, they kind of remind us that there's also a place for respecting these natural forces, understanding them on a different level.
It makes you think about how much we can learn from, like, indigenous knowledge systems, especially when it comes to living in balance with nature. It's not just about, like, extracting data, but understanding the deep connection between humans and their environment.
Precisely. Now, stepping back to the science for a moment. Remember we talked about how Erta Ale sits on the East African Rift?
Uh-huh.
Well, that rift is like a key player in a much bigger drama. The slow but steady breakup of the African continent.
Hold on, wait. The whole continent is splitting. Is that even possible?
It's not like as sudden or dramatic as it sounds,
Right.
This is a process that's unfolding over millions of years.
Oh, okay.
But it does mean that Erta Ale and that entire region, they're constantly changing, evolving as these tectonic forces, they reshape the landscape.
So studying Erta Ale is like having a front row seat to like continental drift in action.
Exactly.
What kind of insights can scientists gain from that?
Well, for starters, analyzing the lava's composition can give clues about the makeup of the Earth's mantle, the layer beneath the crust in that specific area. It's like getting a glimpse into the Earth's deeper layers.
Okay, so back up for a second. For those of us who aren't geologists, what exactly is the mantle and why is it so important?
Okay, so imagine the Earth like a layered cake.
Okay.
The crust is that thin outer layer that we live on, right?
Yeah.
Beneath that is the mantle. It's a much thicker layer. It's mostly solid rock, but it behaves like a very viscous fluid over geological time. And it's the source of magma that erupts from volcanoes. And it plays a major role in plate tectonics, driving those slow movements that we've been talking about.
So by studying the lava from Erta Ale, scientists can actually get information about this deeper layer, the mantle, and how it's influencing the continental drift happening in that region.
Exactly. It's like putting together a giant puzzle. Each bit of data, each chemical analysis, it adds another piece to the picture of how the Earth's systems work.
Wow.
It's not just about Erta Ale. It helps us understand plate tectonics, the formation of continents and oceans, the whole, grand story of our planet.
So to bring it all together, this one volcano is telling us about the Earth's molten core, its shifting continents, and even the deep cultural connection that the Afar people have with their environment.
It is. And there's one more pretty mind-blowing thought to consider. So if this rift continues to widen, millions of years from now, the eastern portion of Africa, well, it could actually separate, creating a whole new ocean basin.
Wow. So Erta Ale is like a preview of a future ocean being born. That's a pretty incredible legacy for a volcano, to be part of such a massive geological transformation.
It is, and it raises some interesting questions, doesn't it?
Yeah.
How will this impact the Afar people, in the long term? How will this new ocean change global weather patterns, ocean currents, even the distribution of life on Earth?
Those are some big picture questions to ponder. It makes you realize that, even the most seemingly isolated spots on Earth are connected to processes that affect the whole planet.
Exactly. But let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. We've been talking about, the distant future. But there are some fascinating aspects of the Afar people's relationship with Erta Ale that are happening right now in the present.
You mentioned that the Afar people's knowledge of the volcano is invaluable to scientists. What are some specific examples of how that collaboration is playing out?
One of the things researchers are really interested in is the Afar people's understanding of Erta Ale's eruption patterns. They have this long oral history. It goes back generations,
Wow.
describing past eruptions, the warning signs, how the landscape changed.
So they're not just observing the volcano, they're recording its behavior in their stories and traditions. That's an incredible record of volcanic activity. I mean, it goes way beyond any written records that we might have.
Exactly. And that knowledge can be really helpful for scientists.
Yeah.
So by comparing the Afar people's accounts with geological data, they can get a more complete picture of Erta Ale's, long-term behavior,
I see.
which can help in predicting future eruptions and, well, mitigating risks.
It's a beautiful example of how scientific and cultural knowledge can complement each other.
It is. And it kind of underscores the importance of respecting indigenous knowledge systems.
Yeah.
In the past, these perspectives were often dismissed or overlooked.
Yeah.
But now there's, a growing recognition that they hold valuable insights.
Right.
Especially when it comes to understanding and adapting to our environment.
It makes you wonder what other places on Earth might hold similar stories.
Yeah.
Where indigenous knowledge could unlock, a deeper understanding of the natural world.
That's a great question. And it's one that, scientists are increasingly asking. There are so many remote and extreme environments on our planet that we're only beginning to explore, from the deep ocean to the polar regions to, vast rainforests and deserts.
Right.
And in many of these places, indigenous communities have lived for centuries, developing a profound understanding of the ecosystems they inhabit.
It's exciting to think about the potential discoveries waiting to be made when we bring together different ways of knowing. But it also makes you realize how much we still have to learn about our own planet.
It does. And it highlights the importance of collaboration, of respecting different perspectives and of, listening to the voices of those who have lived in harmony with nature for generations.
So to wrap up this deep dive into Erta Ale, it's more than just a volcano, right? It's like a window into the Earth's deep processes, a testament to human resilience and adaptation, and a reminder of the importance of respecting both scientific and cultural knowledge.
Well said. Erta Ale is a place that, ignites the imagination, makes us question our assumptions, and it inspires us to explore the wonders of our planet with curiosity and humility.
And to our listeners, we hope this deep dive has sparked your own curiosity. What other places on Earth capture your imagination? What mysteries are you eager to uncover? There's a whole world out there waiting to be explored, and we'll be here to help you dive into it.